Coming weekend is just around the corner and students excitedly await all the festivities that come with it. Hello, I'm Justin Gick.
And I'm Nick Paleo. The Philadelphia International Airport is giving travelers a unique zoo experience before they depart for flights. We've all this and more coming up on LTV News, where the action never stops.
Hello and welcome to LTV News, where we bring you everything from 20th and Olney Avenue, Philadelphia, and the world.
There is a lot to catch up on in the next half hour as Sam Long had the chance to sit down with cast members of the Masks Fall musical. So let's hear the buzz around campus.
Last Wednesday, another Explorer Cafe was held in the Hull Road Atrium, facilitated by seniors Kayla Dunn and Tyler Morer, as well as Dr. Mark Lashley, all from the communication department. Their talk, entitled, "Would I Be Hired If My Employers Found My Finsta?" informed listeners about the dangers of having a second Instagram account and being careful of how you display yourself on social media. They provided many different examples of public figures who are fired after posting controversial images and comments on social media. The facts and stories they provided were interesting and eye-opening, as in this day and age, potential employers can find almost anything about you online.
We were just started thinking about social media and like how far it came, and then we were like, Finstas is not that old. It's like 3 years old, like 2016 to now. And to be honest, like I don't think it's dying down anytime soon. So we wanted to take something relevant and entertaining, but also have an educational factor to it.
I hope that people will learn that like social media just is not private, and it doesn't really matter if you put it on private or not. Like there's still someone who has access to it or can gain access to it that they can like use it against you. So just like always be mindful of the content you're putting out.
On Friday, November 1st, the Communication Department held the career event Coming Back to Pay It Forward. Students were first greeted by Dr. Mike Smith and brother Jerry Molyneux, and they then listened to keynote speaker Mike Sealski of the Philadelphia Inquirer, who discussed his career path and answered questions from the audience of current students, professors, and prospective students. This was followed by 3 panels the students could choose to attend, focusing on professional uses of social media, how to get started with your career, and how to apply for internships. Following the panels, students were able to network with the 7 alumni that attended and take headshots for LinkedIn that were provided by Career Services.
While most students balance their schoolwork and activities, Chris Spaulding seems to have a latte more work on his plate. While balancing his studies, Chris is also the student CEO for Saxby's on campus. Sam Long got to learn more about Chris's role and what a day in his life is like. Check it out.
We traveled to Founders Hall to not only get a cup of coffee, but to also meet senior Chris Spaulding to learn what it takes to be the student CEO of Saxby's.
So my name is Chris Spaulding, and I'm the student CEO at Saxby's. Start off the day usually by putting in like invoices, making sure the team's ready to go, prepping items from tea to coffee to chai. Then we serve guests. Busiest hours are like 9 to 12. I already worked here, so it was kind of a cool process to do. Like I was the first one to get hired internally. So it was an interview with our coach, who kind of oversees our cafe amongst other cafes.
One of the challenges of this role is balancing schoolwork and work at the coffee shop, especially trying to learn all the brand new menu items. But Chris is able to manage his time wisely with this team.
I'm usually here about 55 hours a week, and then I had like my honors project, which is like my 40-page paper, and then there's a couple classes that go along with Saxby's, which are like weekly or bi-weekly essays, but it's definitely doable. Over the summer they completely revamped the menu, which was really nice. Simplified some recipes, made some other ones just like healthier, made a lot of recipes better. The team's really good at like adapting and like getting the new recipes out.
While he had to learn all the daily tasks as student CEO, Spaulding also had to learn all the values that come with Saxby's.
Working at Saxby's and kind of learning all the core values and the mission statement is really important to me. So the mission statements make life better through like hospitality, which we do through coffee.
For those looking for a new drink to try, Chris has some great recommendations.
The Gruely is a fun drink, and it just tastes healthy. Like you drink and you feel healthy.
For LTV News, I'm Sam Long.
Well, Nick, it looks like Chris kind of has everything under control. I know this position demands a lot of time and effort.
It certainly does, and I'm a huge fan of Saxby's. You know, I'm a big coffee
Yeah,
lover.
yeah,
Got to
yeah.
get my coffee every single day. You know, when I'm up in Founders Hall on Fridays when I launch my campus tour that I do each week, I make sure to grab Saxby's beforehand because I got to get energized for the day.
Oh, right.
But Saxby's great spot on
Oh,
campus.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, for those currently planning what to do after graduation, LaSalle is offering the Grad School Fair to check out some options. Universities offering graduate programs ranging in all majors will be attending the fair, providing students with opportunities to learn about the programs that are right for them and their interests. Students will also be able to learn more about the application process for graduate programs, checking out what work is required to apply for the grad school of their choice. The Grad Fair will be held in the Union Ballroom from 12 to 2 p.m. on Thursday, November 7th. Go explore some options for life after graduation.
This weekend, LaSalle will bleed blue and gold as it hosts this year's Homecoming and Family Weekend from November 8th through 11th. Family and friends are invited to gather at 20th and Only for events such as the Festival on the Quad, a men and women's basketball game, a chemistry show, and a dinner accompanying a showing of the mass production of Young Frankenstein. In addition, a beer garden will be available for guests of age to enjoy. Guests are encouraged to purchase digital tickets in advance by Thursday, November 7th at noon. After that, tickets can be purchased at the registration table located on campus.
Sam Long had the chance to sit down with Nick Skiles and Tom Harris of The Mask to chat about the upcoming production of Young Frankenstein. Check it out.
Hello. Today I'm sitting down with Tom Harris and Nick Skiles, members of The Mask, to talk about their upcoming production of Young Frankenstein. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So, can you just explain the basic plot of the show?
Ooh, I'll take that one. So in this show, it is centering around Frederick Frankenstein, or Frankenstein as he prefers, the grandson of the late Victor Frankenstein from the titular book Frankenstein. And it follows him on his journey after his grandfather's death. He is brought to Transylvania and is sort of swept up in their culture as they try to get him to create another creature and open the castle back up, while he tries to resist but inevitably creates the creature and sort of tries to move forward with that.
Now, what are your parts in the show? Can you explain your characters a little bit?
Well, I am playing Frederick Frankenstein, and as a character, he's a dean of humanity, very rigid, very used to people sort of equating him to his grandfather, expecting him to create some horrible monster. And whereas he's very repulsed by that, at the same time, just he's very like enlightened by sort of like the science, like the freedom you can find in Transylvania.
And then I'm playing Igor, who is Dr. Frankenstein's personal assistant. He's been kind of just waiting in the castle. His grandfather was the assistant to Frankenstein's grandfather. So Igor's just kind of been waiting this whole time for Frederick to come so he can just like start doing what he's supposed to do. He's very goofy, very odd looking. I don't want to spoil too much, but he's a very fun character.
How long have you been rehearsing for this show?
So we started in, late September, I believe, is when we started auditions. And then as soon as the cast was announced, we did a read-through, and then it's just been almost nightly rehearsals since then for several hours a night, and just full steam ahead trying to prepare for the show.
What's the rehearsal process like for a member of The Mask?
So standardly, depending on your role for the show, at least for the musical, broken up through the week, you'll normally have a day for dancing, a day for singing, a day for scene work, so that's blocking and going through lines. And then otherwise, you're sort of looking at that sort of like 6 to 10, 7 to 10, Monday through Thursday, potentially. And it can be a little strange at first because you're not necessarily doing things in order, not necessarily seeing the show come together until you're there with the tech members who have been working on the set and the props and the costumes just as long as you've been working on your character, and it really does come to life right in front of you, and it's so exciting.
Now, do you guys have a stage crew there with you for all your rehearsals, or do they do something separate from you guys?
So generally, while the cast is off rehearsing, like throughout most of the process, tech is kind of in the theater doing their own things, hanging lights, building the set, like accumulating costumes and stuff. And then it all comes together about 1 week before the show is when we do what we call Tech Weekend, which is 2 12-hour days in the theater where we try to run the show, get all the lighting cues down, all the scene changes and stuff. And then from that point forward up until the show, we just do nightly runs of the show, like in what we call show conditions, to just really prepare ourselves for an audience.
Why was Young Frankenstein chosen to be the show for the semester, and what's the process like for choosing a show?
So when we are looking to get a new show, we bring together all of our members, and they suggest to us shows that they want to see done on LaSalle's campus. And we normally sort of root through them just to make sure, like, financially it's possible. It's something that would like be in accordance with the university. So there's no like materials in the show that like go like directly against like a lot of like what the university wants us to sort of portray. But they do give us like a fair amount of artistic freedom. And so we set together normally like a list of 4 options, and we have a vote for a show and a backup show. And at least for me, I did vote for Young Frankenstein because I looked at just the electrifying like energy and like the magnitude of the show was something I personally couldn't resist.
Now, you said you have a voting process. Is there any way you can let us in on what's been voted for the spring show? A little reveal for LTV News?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing in the spring, And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, the murder mystery. So kind of keeping up with the really fun, spooky theme we're doing this year. So it should be really fun. It's going to be a good show.
Well, before we wrap this up, can you tell us what days and what times the show is going to be performed?
Ooh, so you can catch Young Frankenstein opening this weekend on Friday night at 8 o'clock. It'll also be Saturday at 8, Sunday matinee on the 10th at 2, and then it'll pick back up the following week on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all 8 p.m.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I'll definitely get out to the show.
Awesome.
Everyone should. I'm going to send it back over to the desk.
Well, it's always great to have the Mask members in to talk about their productions and get some more insight into what's coming up next.
Yeah, they always do a great job every year.
Yeah, so not to give another coffee story, but I was walking out of Starbucks the other day in the Union, and I was passing by the Dan Rodden Theater. Couldn't help but look in, and I saw there was like before they were doing, I guess, their dress rehearsals. Their tech week is this week. I looked and saw their set, and I was like, oh my, it was amazing. It was like this cool floor-to-ceiling set. Looked perfect, like something you would like. Go to Center City and see. It was really, really cool. So I would definitely recommend, come on to campus, check it out. I heard this is going to be super, super fun.
Yeah.
They're always super talented. Well, it's time for our first break, but coming up, doctors are using pumpkins to help advance robotic surgery. Stay tuned.
What's up, Ant? What's up, Greg?
Hello?
Don't be nervous.
Are you the one who's been watching me?
We've been watching it this entire time.
Who is this?
You should already know who's watching it.
What do you mean?
It's us, LaSalle.
LaSalle?
LaSalle TV.
Oh, we are watching LaSalle TV.
Kylie loves to an egg. An egg? An egg. How does a general lose to an egg? The internet's to an egg.
You know, there is a show for that. It's called Backstage Pass.
See the new library plan?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they're doing stuff in the library. Oh.
In the library?
Yeah.
The new library. You know, there is a show for that called LTV News, where the action never stops.
I wonder how the basketball team is.
You know, there is a show for that called Sports Live.
So are you a Carson Wentz or Nick Foles guy? More of a Nate Sudfeld team. Oh, really? Interesting. Wonder where we can hear about Philly sports.
You know, there's a show for that called Sports Talk Philadelphia.
You like Family Feud? Yeah. You like all shows like that? Yeah. I wonder if LaSalle has a show like that. That'd be kind of cool.
There is a show for that called Q&A.
I really wish that we could just display our talents. Yeah, me too.
There is a show for that called Explorers Got Talent.
All this and more on LaSalle TV.
monstrous inflatable rodent that incidentally visited LaSalle's campus last month has been a union protest symbol for years, typically placed in response to companies hiring non-union labor. However, Scabby may soon be handed a pink slip of its own from none other than the National Labor Relations Board. A Philadelphia-based case has recently lifted Scabby to national prominence, as the NLRB has been authorized with deciding whether or not the inflatable constitutes unlawful picketing. Some believe the rodent scares business away from companies that are not involved in union disputes and therefore promotes unlawful coercion, while others believe that Scabby represents a constitutionally protected legitimate communication. Whatever the outcome, the NLRB ruling is expected to set a new precedent, and any appeals have the potential to reach as high as the Supreme Court of the United States. A ruling by the NLRB is expected before the end of the 29th.
The Philadelphia International Airport has partnered with the Philadelphia Zoo for a monthly educational event series. The series brings a variety of animals, such as birds, mammals, and reptiles, to the airport every month, giving passengers the chance to explore the rare animals that reside at America's oldest zoo. The mission of this series is to connect people with animals from around the world. And what better way to promote this than at an international airport? Some of the special animal guests that have already visited the airport include a red-tailed hawk, an armadillo, and red-footed tortoises. Passengers will also be able to receive a trading card with the animal being featured at each monthly event, with the next one taking place on November 26th.
Popular transportation company Lyft has launched a new program for job hunters. The program is called the Job Access Program and offers free and reduced rides to customers headed to job interviews, as well as offers riders up until the third week of their employment. A Lyft spokesperson says that, quote, reliable transportation to a job interview or to the first few weeks of work can mean the difference between successful long-term employment and lost opportunities, end quote. Lyft hopes that this program will help close the transportation gap in low-income communities.
Philadelphia surgeons are using pumpkins to practice new robotic surgery techniques. The advanced new practice is said to help prevent blood loss and pain, as well as decrease recovery times. In the spirit of Halloween, doctors fixed a jack-o'-lantern to the operating table and used an advanced robotic surgery module to pick out pumpkin seeds. The arms of the robots were equipped with custom-made tools and cameras that allowed surgeons to operate more precisely and with less accidental movement. The pumpkin seeds were treated as brain tumors in the simulation to demonstrate a less invasive method of removing them. The test was successful, with surgeons able to successfully remove all of the seeds from their pumpkin patient. Robotic surgery is not necessarily better for all operations, but for extremely precise and complex ones. Doctors say that this is the future of advanced healthcare.
Coming up after this last break, we'll hear about the famous wildfire goats that are credited with saving the Reagan Library. Stay tuned.
Oh my God, I swear, these sports show hosts just get dumber and dumber as time goes on. Like, I can't believe people are actually paid money, real money, more than what I make at my job to say this stupid stuff. Like, I can't believe this crap. Oh my gosh. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. Like, this is just, how can they even...
Hey, what you doing?
This stupid sports show. These people have no idea how the game of basketball is played. Not at all.
Hey, you're not you when you don't watch Salle TV. Here, let me show you.
Have much more left, but the only reason why for everyone else it's a one-year rental.
Talk Philadelphia here on the Salle TV. I'm your host, all that comes.
Feel better now?
Better. You're not you when you're not watching LaSalle TV. To stay up to date, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
The sun of fire and beauty, destruction and life. Something so magnificent you can't even look at it. My son of fire and passion, life until death. Something so magnificent you can't look away. Maybe because we don't look at the sun, we are afraid that we might not be able to let go of the beauty that just might end up destroying us.
You know you watch. You shouldn't be watching this. You should be watching Salle TV. Hey, watch Salle TV.
Man, Keegan's taking this You Know You Watch thing way too seriously.
You know you watch LaSalle TV.
Welcome back. Last Thursday, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey announced that in late November, Twitter will stop accepting political advertisements. Dorsey stated that the reason Twitter will no longer allow the posting of promoted political content is because he feels that by allowing materials from politicians to show up in anyone's feed, users are being forced to see content and messages that they might not agree with. Additionally, Dorsey feels that by eliminating political ads, Twitter will help stop the spread of misinformation. Twitter's new policy also comes in the wake of public outcry against Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who has stated that Facebook will not be eliminating paid political advertisements, even if they include false or misleading information, because the company feels such actions would limit freedom of speech. While Twitter has not been immune to outrage, mainly over protecting the tweets of those who perpetuate inappropriate or misleading messages, this is at least a step towards creating a more balanced social media landscape.
As wildfires continued to rage in California over the past few weeks, firefighters came up with an unlikely solution to save the Reagan Presidential Library. The Ventura County Fire Department brought in over 300 goats to chomp up all the brush around the complex. Small business owner Scott Morris charges $1,000 per acre the goats are allowed to graze. He says this is an ecologically friendly way to reduce fire danger and manage lands. The goats apparently prefer to feed on the weeds like those around the library over grass anyway. And the solution worked. Firefighters say the goats really helped them out because as the fire was coming up one hill, the brush was already cleared out of the way. Some of the goat hero names: Vincent Van Gogh, Nibbles, and Selena Gomez.
On Wednesday, October 30th, President Trump shared an altered photo of himself placing a medal around the neck of the dog who was injured in the raid that led to the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The image had a watermark from a social media account for the conservative news site The Daily Wire. In the original photo, President Trump is seen awarding a Medal of Honor to James C. McLaughlin, a retired Army medic who was credited with saving 10 lives during the Vietnam War. President Trump has spoken of the dog in question, whose name is Conan, in glowing terms since the ISIS raid, stating, quote, "A beautiful dog, a talented dog, was injured and brought back." President Trump is expected to meet Conan as the hero dog has been invited to the White House.
Teen climate change activist GretaThornburg says that she does not want awards, but instead wants people to listen to science. Thornburg, who is widely known for her speech at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, was offered an award by the Nordic Council and declined despite the $52,000 prize. Thornburg thanked the organization for the award, but says, quote, "The climate movement does not need any more awards. What we need is for our politicians and the people in power to start to listen to the current and best available science," end quote. You know, Nick, this girl is doing great things. I can't believe she's only 16 and she's speaking out on this important topic. You know, I know, like, she really said that she doesn't feel like doing this, but, I mean, people aren't listening.
Every time we see her in the news cycle, I think we are forgetting how young she is and, you know, the power of your voice, regardless of what age. So I think that's a fantastic story to tell. Also, we can just backtrack to the goats at the Reagan Library.
Yeah.
Like, what a story.
I know.
First of all, I'm loving the names. Vincent Van Gogh, Nibbles, and Selena Gomez. I mean, come on. But that's such a smart move. I mean, bringing them in.
Yeah,
a little
exactly.
More natural.
Save history.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to our last segment of the show. Hashtag What's Trending. We have two trends today. Number one, two therapy dogs at a hospital in Texas tied the knot in a special wedding ceremony. The two golden retrievers, named Peaches and Duke, help patients with their rehabilitation at the Methodist Mansfield Medical Center's Physical Medicine Department. The dogs have been spotted sharing puppuccinos at the hospital Starbucks, as well as caring for patients together, inspiring hospital officials to throw them a wedding. The fun-filled event consisted of the Vice President of Pastoral Services officiating the wedding, and of course, a wedding cake for the two newlyweds. Following the ceremony, Peaches and Duke went right back to their work in order to do what they do best, providing joy and relief to patients in the hospital. What a story. I know this season of LTV News, we are on a bit of an animal kick.
I know.
Here showing all the spots. I'm just happy they're drinking their puppuccinos finally. There it is. You've been saying all along.
I think I've seen it all now.
Now you've seen it all. We've seen dog cafes. We've seen cat cafes.
Yeah.
Now we've seen dog marriages. What next? What next in the animal world? Should I move on to trend 2?
All right.
Trend number 2.
Many newlyweds dream up personal and symbolic additions to their wedding ceremonies, from lighting candles to mixing sand. But one New York City couple takes the cake with a unique addition to their Brooklyn nuptials. In between exchanging vows and exchanging rings, Zena Hernandez and Lisa Yang, still donning their wedding dresses, stepped off the altar to tandem deadlift a 253-pound barbell for 3 reps in a row, now viral photo. The women, who are self-proclaimed fitness buffs, say they deadlift services as a symbol of unity and the strength of their marriage. Considerable planning went into making sure this special portion of the ceremony went off without a hitch. A ballistic weightlifting mat had to be placed underneath to the deadlift to protect the venue, and Hernandez and Yang practiced considerably before the big day. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. That's like unbelievable, unheard of.
I know, but I think that, you know, I actually was researching this story, and I was one who wrote this piece, and when I was looking into the background of this, I think they were saying that, you know, they could do more.
Right.
But because of the wedding dress, like that was kind of holding them back. But they had their whole weightlifting team there. Like you said, they had the mat underneath to kind of protect the venue.
Right.
There was a lot going into it. But I think it's pretty unique because nowadays, you know, people might be, you know, moving away from the traditional wedding ceremony.
Right. Yeah.
This is something unique, something that's memorable, and now a viral, you know, photo that we're reporting on. But I think that, yeah, pretty creative.
Pretty cool.
Well, that just about does it for this episode. But be sure to find us on the web as well as the rest of LaSalle TV on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so tweet at us using our Twitter handle and start the conversation.
If you missed the scoop and want to see it, you can find episodes on YouTube on our LaSalle TV Philly page.
Until next time, for Justin, Sam, and the entire crew, I'm Nick Palayo. Thanks for watching LTV News, where the action never stops.